Okay, so our topic today is how to record your presentations or lectures or what have you for asynchronous use by your students. Okay, and so we'll be discussing a couple of different ways, but I'd like to ask you to add to the chat any of your hope for outcomes or questions coming into this presentation so that I can make sure I address those best I can. So if you can add the chat, or if you want to unmute your mic and just ask your question, that's fine too, whichever works best for you.
Okay, Mike.
Yes, Scott, go ahead.
I just sent my little message there in the chat thing.
Okay.
So actually, I got to get this done today because the students have some homework on Saturday. It's due by the end of the week.
Okay.
I need to review the material. So I'm probably going to record using Zoom.
Okay.
My alternatives to using Zoom would be Camtasia.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Okay. Or, I don't know, what's my other alternative to record?
You can record directly through PowerPoint, except for that you said that you had a YouTube video that you want to show.
Okay.
So I think Zoom is actually probably a pretty good option, and we'll show you how to do that shortly.
Okay, so one of the questions I have, so what I want to do, I think that the easiest way for me to do this is to use the PowerPoint that I would otherwise have used in class. And
Right.
so what I really like is, in class, you know, I have the PowerPoint, I have this all, in fact, frankly, for some of my PowerPoint, I've been doing it for enough semesters that, you know, it's like fully scripted in a sense, meaning I probably should have done this a long time ago for some of the material. So I'd like the students to primarily see the PowerPoint, but I also want them to see me.
Okay.
Either in a box or something. And I'm sure I assume you're going to cover how we can do that. Yeah,
actually, Zoom handles that automatically if you turn on your video when you go into Zoom and start recording. It will automatically include a thumbnail of you speaking, and I'll show you an example of that later later in the meeting. So, good question, Yvette. Do you have any questions you wanted to ask?
My main question is, I'm in Spanish teaching, Spanish pedagogy, and my students do a lot of micro teaches, and I'm just wondering if within Zoom there is a way, I know they can screen share, but I'm just trying to figure out what the options are for them to either share their micro teach or teach a micro teach.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out what the options are. I'm not too familiar with, I did see some of the initial Zoom training, but
okay.
on their end, I'd like to know what works for them.
Are you familiar with GoReact at all?
GoReact, I had an account. I'm not familiar with it.
Okay. Well, that's probably outside the scope of this particular webinar, but we might want to maybe set up a time to talk briefly about GoReact too sometime.
Okay.
To meet your needs. And let's see, there's a Brother Hernandez. Is that right?
Yes.
What were you hoping to get out of today's webinar?
I work with the MTC.
Okay.
And we are making the transition likewise as a school is to all online teaching.
Okay.
So my biggest hope was to find out a little bit more about making recordings valuable, maybe in the way for missionaries that they could go back and review the things that were talked about during lessons or things like that. Really just trying to see what you have to share for us. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. All right. So to start out, one of the things we want to let me answer Scott's question. He said, related to Yvette's question, at the end of the semester, my students need to do team presentations involving PowerPoint. Can student teams use Zoom to record their presentations? Absolutely. Our Zoom account at BYU is good for all faculty, staff, and students to be able to act as hosts. So they just go to zoom.byu.edu and log in using their CAS authentication,
We're stuck.
and they can use the tool. And so if we do have enough time at the end, I can maybe show you a little bit about GoReact, because if you're wanting your students to respond to each other's recordings, that's a place where people can what's the word I'm looking for? They can annotate each other's videos and provide each other feedback or comments and so forth. Scott, did you have
Well, actually,
another question?
one is, how can I've seen it before where a little hand raises in my picture. How do you do that?
That is a good question. I unfortunately just turned it off. I'm gonna,
Oh,
we
so
just
it's an
thought of it.
option.
Yeah, well, I didn't turn it off, but I just responded to
To
your
mine.
thing.
Well, that makes the hand raise in the participant list, but I've seen a thing before where it'll actually make a hand raise on my picture.
Yeah, so what I get, let me see if I can snag this really quick. When you raised your hand, I'm going to share this really quick. Oh, come on. And desktop. Nope, that's not what I wanted. There it is. Okay, so what I got was this little thing. Scott Sampson raised his hand.
Oh, okay.
That.
Yes.
So,
Right. So,
and on your, and you can see up here on your video screen, it also had a little hand icon. So
yeah.
that clued me in as the presenter that you were trying to do that. Now, of course, that's applied more to when you're doing a live presentation than a recorded presentation,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. But you can record your live presentations where you have student interaction and also save it for students who weren't able to make it.
Yes.
But the primary purpose of our discussion today was how do I record the videos for later student viewing, right?
Which is
If
exactly.
I'm just putting together a mini lecture or what have you, right?
Sure. That's my task.
Okay.
So from what you said before, just to clarify, anything that I can do, the students can do on Zoom. Is that right? Meaning
If
my license is not any different than the student license.
right, it just matters whether they're in the meeting as a participant or as a host.
But a student can be a host just as easily as I can be a host.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I want my teams to get together and be meeting during the semester, my student teams.
Yeah.
I can say, hey, just go online, create a meeting and do it.
Right.
Okay.
And so whoever starts it is automatically the host, and then with NetIDs, they could add other people. Well, actually, they can make, let's see, I can't, I can't show you right now, but there is a way when you open the participant window. Can you see this participant window? No? There is a, here, I'll take a quick screenshot of this as well so that you can see it. Okay, so now you should be able to see it. So if I go next to a person, I can make them a host. So while we're going, like if I got my little group together and I was the person who started, I could make everybody a host or a co-host, and they would then have all the tools they needed. But even participants can share their screen and those kinds of things. So most of what they need is available to them. So does that answer your question? Sorry, you were muted. Trying to.
Okay, sorry. So the students can follow what you're going to teach us today. I can tell my students to do this, and they can record their presentations, and I can grade them later.
Yes, you could do that.
I like it.
Exactly. So you could also have them record their presentation and upload it to GoReact that I was telling you about, where you would be able to annotate specific parts in the video where you wanted to give them feedback or point out some things they're doing well, or those kinds of things. So that's another option for what your type of assignment is. Anyway, so because there are some limitations on actually viewing Zoom while you're conducting a Zoom meeting, I've put together a little video that that allows you to, where I recorded using a different technology, in this case it was QuickTime, my use of Zoom. And so I'm going to show you that video, but you're welcome to raise a hand or chime in. Anytime during that video, I can pause it and we can answer questions and so forth, okay? So this is, I'm going to stop the share and reshare, just so you just get the QuickTime player. And I got to share my audio. Let me put that over there. And I'm going to go ahead and play this so that you can see this. All right. We're going to quickly walk through how you record your lectures in Zoom. We're going to start by just creating a new meeting. You could schedule the meeting, but let's just start a new meeting, and we'll join audio with the computer audio. And now I've got my meeting going. If I just want to talk, do a talking head kind of thing and not show stuff, or I want to intermingle my talking head with other things, I can start the recording now, or I can share later. So recording, it allows you to record on this computer or record to the cloud. On the computer, you'll get back some information on where that file is located, and then you'll be able to do things with it. You can edit the video, you can upload it elsewhere, but we'll kind of show that later. And then recording to the cloud, you can save that on the Zoom servers, and it is available online for you to share a URL with your students right away. The other thing you can do, though, is if there are changes you need to make, you can go to Zoom, go to zoom.byu.edu and log in. That'll take you to your online profile, and you'll be able to download that video. I can show that to you later. So you've got those two options. I could start recording right away or do that. But if I say all I want to do is just show a PowerPoint presentation and narrate it using Zoom, I can click Share, and I've got several options. I can show my different desktops. I could show an iPad or iPhone via AirPlay. I can, all these things. So I can also do a whiteboard. So I could share a whiteboard with my students and draw and get that all recorded. And as the recording's going, I can switch back and forth between all these tools. So there's not a problem. You don't have to just pick one and whatever. But let's just say I'm going to do my PowerPoint presentation. So let's share PowerPoint. And now that's being shared to the participants in my Zoom meeting. But if I'm just doing this on my own to record, then that's okay too. So I can also, I'm just going to create a blank slide for later. And when I'm ready to record the meeting, I could go in here into presentation mode, and then I come up here, and if I click on the meeting ID, it'll drop down these tools for me, right? And then I can decide whether I'm recording on this computer or recording to the cloud. I'm going to choose to record on this computer. And now I've started my recording. Okay, welcome class. This is my example lecture on how to. Okay, I just want to point out really quick, you can see right by the meeting ID here that this little circle that with a blinking red light showed up. So this is mic live rather than mic recorded talking right now. And that's your indicator that you're recording when you're in a screen share. Okay, so I'll turn it back over to the recorded mic. Record PowerPoint presentations as a video, except I'm not recording through PowerPoint, I'm recording through Zoom right now. So I click on my slide and here's my first point. President Worthen is a great guy, and I just wanted to point that out because I do really like him. He's a great university president. My next point is to tell you that lectures aren't inherently evil. And I want you to consider, however, that they are input into the students. That does not equate with learning. Now, we need input in order for learning to happen, but if we don't have the student time to process and comprehend and hopefully apply what we're discussing in our presentations, then learning isn't going to occur as readily. Some learning will occur because students will just by nature will think about things and try to figure it out on their own. But for us to teach better, we need to prompt them, give them opportunities to process and comprehend that information and apply it. And so that's why it's nice if we're recording a presentation to build in pauses and ask the students to think. So I'm going to ask you right now to consider, how can you, even when you're doing asynchronous presentations of your lecture material, prompt students to process, comprehend, and apply the information that you're providing them. So take a minute to write down a few of your ideas, and then we'll share those out later. Okay, I am going to pause the video that we're watching. So one of your questions, Scott, was to how do I include a YouTube video during my recording or whatever. Well, I'm showing a video here. To do this with a YouTube video, I'd simply share my browser window instead of my QuickTime application. But there's something that you have to do as well, and I'll have to stop this share so that I can show you this screenshot. Where to go? Okay, is that it? Nope, that's not it. Yeah, this is it. So I'm going to flip back to share my screen really quick. Here we go, and share. And I want this image. Share. Okay, so when you go to share your screen, you'll get these options of which application or which screen you want to share. In this case, it's currently selected on desktop 1. But if I had a specific browser that had the YouTube video that I wanted to share, I could I could select that. And then these options down here, I don't know if you see can you see where I'm selecting on the screen? Where my mouse is?
Yes.
Okay. If you click the share computer sound, and it might be nice to optimize for full screen video clip, click both of those before you click share. Then any video that you have playing in your shared space will be broadcast to the students or will be part of the recording that you create. So the share that I had, that's how I did it so that you could hear the video on the screencast recording that I had previously done. Because I did that video, which we're gonna watch the rest of it so you can see how to stop it and what happens after that. But I did that, so I did this because in previous versions of this training, I've had to stop and do all those screenshots that I've been doing, and it kind of gets a little cumbersome. Because you're trying to demonstrate Zoom using Zoom, it's pretty tricky. So let me get the right thing. There's the QuickTime. Okay, share. So now we're back to the video. We're going to watch a couple more seconds. Well, I won't make you watch all the rest. Okay, we can't really. But you'll see. And the next thing I want to do is show you what the resulting video looks like, because this is a recording. This is kind of meta, but this is a recording of me doing a recording, and then I want to show you what the recording looks like, so you have those distinctions in your mind. Because I'm recording this and so forth, but I could provide places for them to do that. I could use classroom polling technology that allows answer from anywhere. I could use digital dialogue. I could create an assignment where I just ask them to submit the results of their Ponder or application questions after they watch the recording. All those kinds of things I could do. Okay, yeah, we'll let it go. I'm in Zoom still. I can see my tools here. I can pause the recording or I can stop the recording depending on what I want to do. in this case, I'm gonna keep going because I want to go to this slide. And so I've got a couple of things I can do. One, within the tools of Zoom, I have an annotation tool. And so I can get this. And I just want to point out the annotation tools that I'm showing here aren't just available because I'm on a blank slide. It's anytime you're in a, basically when you're in a share, you can annotate your screen. And so I'll just let it keep playing. And then I can come and I can draw on the screen. So I could say, hi world, whoops. And I could say X plus Y. So I could come down a little bit and draw down here and say X plus Y equals, okay, this gets a little annotations, boring. But also within PowerPoint, I have those same annotation tools. I can change it to a pen and I can draw. I was trying to draw with a tablet before. Sometimes it's a little easier with your mouse to do the drawings and so forth. But anyway, when I'm done, I can either come up here. Well, let me turn. Okay, so interestingly enough, because I'm in a share right now, I can annotate and I can draw, and so I can circle here. So I'm now live, and I'm drawing on top of I'm drawing on top of my video that I'm showing you. So how's that for layered instruction? Okay, so I can turn that off and start the video again. This pin off. Okay. So I can go back to my automatic mode. I can pause the recording or stop it. If I want to go back to just talking to my students, I can stop the share, and then I'm back, just me getting the video, and I'm recording this, and then I've got these pause and stop controls on my toolbar, which your students can't see, so it's going to be okay. But I click stop recording, and as you can see over there, the recording file will be converted to an MP4 when the meeting ends. I can actually go in and manually. Okay, I'm going to go back to that just so you see. You'll get a little. You'll get that little. Use my annotation tool here. This one up here, it tells you that it's saved the file and is converting after the meeting ends. If you ever need to, you can actually go in and force it to start converting. We won't do that now, but if we have time, we'll show you how that works. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my mouse and as you can see over there, the recording file will be converted to an MP4 when the meeting ends. I can actually go in and manually do that if I need to, but basically that's the process of recording and demonstrating or presenting using PowerPoint, but doing it through Zoom. Okay, so what the resulting video looks like. I'm going to stop my share and come back into a new share. What the resulting video, when I created that, and now I've started my, it started when I said, okay, I'm going to start recording, and it went through showed my PowerPoints and put little video thumbnail of me up here in the corner, and just shows just the part that I recorded. So the stuff I didn't record, let's see, we got all the squiggles and all that kind of stuff, but I won't put you through hearing all that stuff again, but now it just has everything, but without the Zoom tools in the way, right? So that's why I needed to record using QuickTime to show you how to record in Zoom, because Zoom, when you actually record in Zoom, it hides Zoom tools so that those don't get in the way of your presentation. Okay, so I'm going to stop that. All right, so yeah, unfortunately, I made that. Scott said it's kind of confusing because we got back of the we got present mic and past mic. You won't have to deal with that anymore. And unfortunately, I created that video today, so because I was running into the previous version, running into problems trying to demonstrate that live. So anyway, so let's show you quickly if I want to create, just use PowerPoint to create a presentation or a recorded lecture. Let me get this up. And I'm going to share just PowerPoint with you. So now we're back to that same PowerPoint slide that you saw me use previously, typo and all. And to do a recording of that, let's see, it looks like we've got a question. Let me stop that. Well, true, it's recording, but it's not like something that you could live stream or anything because it has to, it's recorded, it's saving the data. Oh, let me just say, Scott said, so it sounds like it's not actually recording to the local computer at the moment it's being recorded, but after the recording is done, it's converted or compressed to MP4 and then downloaded to the local computer. True. It's actually processing it on your local computer, but there's not an accessible file until after you press stop. And then it saves a file that then has to be converted to a video format, if that makes sense. So it's a kind of a complicated process, but nevertheless, it's not really usable until you do that conversion process. So you are correct that way. And not that you're wrong, it's just, it's not something you have access to until after you click done and so forth.
So can I ask a question about that then to clarify? Okay. So I have this option of that I need to decide, do I want to save, when I start recording, do I want to save it to the computer or save it to the cloud?
Right.
I'm trying to figure out if there's a strong reason to do one or the other in terms of, it sounds like either way I end up with an MP4 file. Either the file's in the cloud or it's on my local computer.
Right.
Can I get it to the cloud? Probably not. If it's in the cloud, can I get it to my computer? I probably can. Is that true?
Yes, you can. You can get it from the cloud. You can download a copy. So let me.
But I can't do the other way though. If I record it on my local computer, I cannot push it up to Zoom to stream to my students later on.
Not to Zoom, but you can put it on YouTube or Vimeo
or Box or whatever.
or yeah, Box. Then you'll you won't be able to, your students can play it on Box, but you won't be able to like embed the video somewhere from Box that I'm aware of, at least. So if you want to embed like in Learning Suite or something like that afterwards, going the YouTube or Vimeo channel is probably the better way to go.
So if I record in the cloud, that's my safest way, because if I did need to move it to YouTube, I could just download it, a local copy, and copy that to YouTube.
Right.
Okay, good.
The downside of the cloud right now is because so many people are jumping on Zoom, given the current environment. Their compression of video has slowed down a lot because it's really taxing their servers, where they can do the compression locally if you save it locally. So that's really, it's just how urgently do you need it, and that's kind of the thing to consider. So, all right, great questions though. So I'm going to go back to really quickly just showing you how to record in PowerPoint, and it's not that complicated. So all you do is so I've got my slides. I click slideshow, and what I'm going to do is record slideshow. And what I want to include is I want to turn these on. I want to use the timing. I want to show the media controls, and I want to show I want to play the narration. So after I do that, I click that, and it'll go into kind of a full screen mode. If you have multiple screens, you'll get the presenter tools, and that's nice because then you have the ability to see your notes and the next slide and all those kinds of things. But I can record, hey, welcome to my example lecture. Point 1 is, this is President Worthen. Point 2 is blah, blah, blah. And then when I'm done, let me just swap here. So on my presenter tools, I see this, and you guys are now seeing my presenter tools, right? Is that correct? So then I just click in show. It asks me, oh, your total time for your slideshow is this. Do you want to save the new timings? And I click yes. And then I come back to this, and it'll show me that I have 32 seconds on my first slide, 4 seconds on my second slide, and 16 on my third slide. I can record again. And then on this slide, I can even come down. Let me switch it. Like we did before, I can add annotations with the pin tool, and I'll swap back and in my show. And now I've only got 15 seconds, but I've replaced that. And so I've basically got 0 moments on all those. And I can save this presentation, and that'll save my my annotations. I can play from the start. I can show it, and it'll. I can see what I did.
And then on this slide, I can even come down. Let me switch it. Like we did before, I can add.
Okay, so it ended that. So at that point, I could, if I save this file, I can share that file with my students, and they would be able to see the slides, see the notes, play it or whatever, but I have some other options. Now, unfortunately, one of the options usually is you can export, and the types, if you're not using 2016 for Mac, then one of the options is going to be a MP4 file. And so that's probably the preferred mode. So if you have 2016 on a PC, it should include that option. If you have a later version on a Mac and any other later version for PC, you should have the save as, or excuse me, export as an MP4. Otherwise, what we can do, I'm going to cancel that and come here to save as, and I have my options. My option here is the PPSX that I hope you can see is a PowerPoint show. And so that doesn't give, that would then be something I could share with my students that wouldn't share the slides in an editable format. But here, I'll just go ahead and save this to my desktop and I'll show you what it looks like. So I'll stop the share, come back in, share my desktop. And I'll close that, and here's the PPSX right here. So if I open that, it goes into this mode where you
and then on this slide, I can even come down.
view this or view
Let me
the
switch it.
tools. I can end the show and yeah, so it basically gives you gives it to you as a
and then on
show.
this slide, I can even come down. Let me switch it. Like we did before, I can add.
So that's another way that you can share with your recorded thing with your students. I'm going to stop the share. So what you then have is resulting files. The PPSX, you can pretty much just post as a file in your learning management system, whether you use Learning Suite or Canvas. If you have a version like on a PC where you can, or a later than 2016 version of PowerPoint where you can save it as a video file, then you can use that video file, save it to Box, to YouTube or something like that, and then either YouTube, you could either share the link or embed the video, and so forth. So here's an example. I'll share this with you really quick. Of where I have uploaded a recording to YouTube. So I uploaded the file, it saved it, it chose a particular thumbnail. I can always switch the thumbnail. It asks me if I want to add some elements to the video and I get some visibility. I can choose to make it public or unlisted or private. Private, you're only going to be able to share it with your students if you add their email address basically to it. So unlisted is probably the way to go. And then you can save it and then it'll tell you that your video is published and you can get a link or you can get embed code for it. So copy that, and then I'd come over to Learning Suite and maybe I create a content page maybe. I'm in instructor view. Create a page and come here and edit it. And there I've got the link, and I can turn it into a hyperlink. Or if I come back here to YouTube, this is a different video. Let's go to this one and get this embed code. I can copy the embed code here, come back over to Learning Suite, and insert a video, come here to the embed option, paste my embed code here, click these, maybe I want to make it large, and I want to hide the related videos, and then my awesome lecture, which I guess I have a tendency to hold down the shift key too long, insert the video, and that's, so if I save it, then what it looks like to my students is they can link to it, or they can, and now I've started my recording. Okay, welcome. Okay, so if I do box, for example, and I come in here, log into my box, really quick. I've already shared a folder here with people, but I have a video clip here. So I come here to share, I grab the shared link, and I could change this to people in my company, and they can only view it. And I can come back here, edit this page, maybe put my link here, or I can say, view this video, provide the link, make sure it opens in a new tab or whatever, save it, and then my students get here and they click, it takes them to Box where they can then watch it. Okay, so those are kind of the ways to, I'm going to stop the share now. Those are kind of the ways to then share my recorded options. I believe you can also allow others to view the video by uploading it from the computer onto a Google Drive and then sharing that Google Drive file. And that is correct. The university wants us to show Box and things like that, so I didn't specifically go into that, but Google Drive is another option. So you just need to either put it into a folder that you've shared, or share that individual file with your students, but you'd grab the file to, or the link to that file, just like we did on Box. Excellent point, Brother Hernandez. Any other questions or concerns? Yes.
I have a question about this. Okay, so if I upload it to Google Drive, the only way for students to watch it is to download the entire file and play it on their computer.
No, actually Google Drive will, if it's a video file, it will show it to you. Let me just, let me demo that for you really quick. So I'll go to my desktop again, share that. And so if I come here and get Drive, and then just give, let's see, I'll just grab this little video here, and sorry, I need to scroll down a little bit. Put this guy on here. Come on. Okay, so it's uploading. I tried to pick a short video so that it would happen really fast. Okay, so we have to wait for it to process, but I come here. It shouldn't take them long to process it, but if I come here, I can share this and get a shareable link. And right now they can view it. They'll also be able to download it because that's just how it works. But let's edit this and say Google Drive video. Oh, helps if I spell Google right. Okay. And insert my link. There we go. And save. Then when my students click that, they'll come in to this, and if it were done processing, then they would be able to just watch it. But the video is still being processed.
So when they watch it, is it kind of an experience like YouTube watching it in the sense that they can scan forward and backwards, they can play it at double speed? And so
yes, it basically, Google Drive basically has the same, well, because YouTube is actually part of Google, right? But they use the Google basically the Google controls, video controls on your video. So let's maybe see if I have a different video. There's one. No, that's a PDF. That's a quick way. So here's one that's been there for a while. Grab that. We'll change it to view. Copy that link. Edit this page really quick. Yeah. When I'm performing for an audience, I don't spell very well. I apologize. So now we go to this another Google Drive video, and then it should just pop that up like that. And then
for my final project and presentation,
and so yeah, I basically have the same
effective
controls, so I
studying
can
and learning class.
change the playback speed. I can
Don't forget to
mute, unmute, and turn on closed captioning. Anyway, so there you go.
good to know.
Okay, so those are the basic elements that I have for you today, because that's pretty much all we have time for. But we do have 5 more minutes if you want to ask any additional questions. We haven't heard from Robert. So if you have any questions, Robert, please, by all means, put it into the chat or unmute your microphone. Scott, did you? Oh, I saw a hand raised. Did you unraise it? Scott?
Question from before. I already
Okay.
asked a question, so.
Okay. All right.
I don't have any questions, but thank you.
Okay. Great. Anyway, so I appreciate you joining me, and you're welcome to contact myself or other consultants here at the CTL. You can find us. Is that a new hand raise, Scott, or?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right.
Here's the question is, it sounds like we either do live or we do pre-recorded. there's not the ability to pause live video. So for example, with general conference streamed over YouTube, I can pause it if I want to go get a snack or whatever. I can come back and play it, and I'm watching it, 5 minutes behind the rest of the world. I can't do that with Zoom. Is that correct?
That's correct. You can, there is an option that's beyond the scope of this presentation, but I can show you quickly that I'll have to show you a screenshot because I don't have it ready to go, but let me share. Cancel that. Share. Oh, come on. Sorry about that. Here, I'll just share my desktop. Gotta minimize a few things. Anyway, here it is. So at the bottom of our recording feature on Zoom, there's a more, and if you enable it, you can stream your video live to Facebook or YouTube. In which case, your students may be able to do that, but they won't be able to interact with you during the video if they watch it. You could, at that point, have somebody watching the YouTube channel or the Facebook for questions and those kinds of things. So that is possible, but it's they won't be able to chime in like you guys have, be able to talk and interact with the session.
That makes sense, especially, so again, it's the present self and the future self and the past self.
Mm-hmm.
They are delayed, meaning if they're watching me 5 minutes behind because they're streaming on YouTube, they can't ask a question because
Right.
I'm already gone. I'm in the
Right.
past. Okay. This is really space-time continuum stuff. This is Einstein type of stuff.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions before we call it a day? All
Nope.
right.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Okay. Thank you. I hope it met at least some, if not all, of your needs for today. And we'll see y'all some other time. Oh, I was going to say, teachanywhere.byu.edu has some resources on making conversions to online, and also our contact information for the various consultants here at CTL is available there. And I will be posting the recording to this. So Scott asked, where do we get the link to this recording? I'm going to be posting that on teachanywhere.byu.edu very soon. I'll put that URL in the chat for you.
And does the host need to post it, or is it possible when a live session is over that the participants would automatically be able to figure it out based on the meeting ID?
No, they're gonna need to. The host is gonna need to share it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think there's a way to make it public quite like that. So,
Okay.
So teachanywhere.byu.edu, and I can show you where I'm going to post that. So if I quickly pull up a browser window, under holding class online, there is recorded lecture, and I will post a link on this page. So look for that in your future. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. We'll hope to hear from you, or hopefully success stories. You can chime back and tell us how it went. Okay. Anyway, take care. Thanks.